While I'm painting the hands of Adam and God, I will tell you the joke about the world's best insult. So back in the 50s, there was this couple, young couple, Elmer and Mavis. They're about 19, and, sweethearts. And there was a circus come to town. And they really liked the circus, and Elmer was really, really into the clowns. He liked the clowns. He thought they were great. And then Mavis was really into clowns, too, and she wanted to see the elephants. They were just really in for a good time. Really excited about going to the circus. So the night of the circus comes, and they're in the crowd, and they watch the horse show, and that was really awesome. They were super excited, and then they got to see the elephants, and Mavis was just over the moon. She was super happy about it. And then came the clowns, and Elmer was pretty excited about that. And he was sitting down pretty close, because it's a small town, big circus. There wasn't not a lot of people there, but so Elmer and Mavis sitting down close, and all of a sudden, one of the clowns comes up to him. He was this really popular clown. And Elmer was super excited, and the clown walks up to him, and the lights drop in the thing, and all of a sudden the spotlight shines on him and Mavis. And he thought, oh, this is going to be funny. What's going to happen? And so the clown walks up to him and says, "Hey, are you a donkey? You're a donkey." And he's like, "What the fuck?" And then all of a sudden, everybody starts laughing, and he's like, "What?" And he's so confused because he doesn't understand. Why does everybody think that's so funny that clown just called him a donkey? That's such a stupid thing. He has no clue. It's like, what the hell is going on? And he's like, he's just shocked, and he's like, "What?" And the clown says, "Yeah, you're a donkey." And he starts laughing, and everybody's laughing. Everybody's laughing at him, and he's just humiliated, and he's just beside himself because he has no idea what the hell is even going on. So at that point, Elmer decides, he's like, you know what? I'm going to fucking humiliate that clown. I'm going to ruin that clown. I'm going to go find the world's greatest insult, and I'm going to use it on that clown, and he will never, ever insult anybody ever again. And so Elmer works for 6 months and saves up a fair amount of coin and decides to set off. And so he first off sets down south and goes out through Mexico. And in Mexico he learns, they're very religious, and a lot of the insults are talking about, people's mothers or stuff like that. And he thinks, oh, that's really good to know, but I don't know if that's what I want to do. So he carries on. And Elmer goes down to Brazil. And in Brazil, he finds out that it's kind of the same. A lot of insults about people's mothers, but also insults about your sister, and he learns some insults about their grandparents that were particularly devastating. And so he decided, I don't know if this is good enough. And so then he caught a boat, and he spent 3 months at sea. And he landed overseas. He landed in Spain, and he went to Spain and found out, oh, this is a lot of the same as this. So he really learned a lot about the shared culture, of what goes on in Spain and how that's tied into Mexico. And so then after that, he travels over to England, and he finds out that the insults in England are a lot different. The people talk a little differently. They're a little drier. The wit's a little different. And he finds out that the insulting of people in England is more based around making witty comments about them instead of just straight up insulting them. Insulting them in a smart way. And so he learned that then England to kind of honed his wit to learn how to insult people in in a more British way. And so then after that, he's like, yeah, I still don't think this is good enough. And so then he went to Germany, and from there he found out, well, Germany, they're a lot more religious than he thought, and he found out that a lot of the insults there that are most devastating were, aside from the obvious post-World War II ones, but there was a lot of insults about the devil, and that calling people the devil was a really, sensitive thing in Germany. And he's like, well, that's not quite good enough. And so then he keeps going farther east, and he goes to Russia, and he finds out how to insult people through their ancestry in a really interesting and devastating way that can't quite be explained in English. And so he thought, this just doesn't translate well. And so he kept going. And he went to India. And in India, he found out about, again, insulting ancestors, and the insulting of your sister, and the insulting of your brother, and your mother, and everything like that. And he learned some really good insults. And so from there, he's like, I think I've almost got it. I've almost got the perfect insult. So from there, he travels off to China. And in China, learned some really interesting insults and jokes about ancestry, and he learns about some math and stuff while he's over there too, and kind of had to sneak into the country. So anyhow, learns about the communist revolution, learns about how people's insulting their ancestors is really based on how insulting their ancestors were to the Communist Party, and learned a bunch of insults like that. And so at that point he thought, I think I'm ready. It had been 3 years. Mavis had already taken up with another man after he'd been humiliated, and so he knew that he didn't have a chance of getting her back. But he knew he had to have revenge on that goddamn clown. And so he finds that circus. And he waits for it to come back to his hometown. And when it does, he makes sure that he has a ticket right to the front seat, because he knows that clown is there. And so he goes, and he sits and he waits. And he watches the horses. And they were pretty cool. And then he watched the new monkey act they got, and that was really impressive to him. And then the elephants, and that made him really upset, because it reminded him of how much Mavis liked the elephants and how much he'd lost because of this goddamn clown. And so they finally get to the clowns. And the clowns are going through and doing their stuff. They throw, the big bucket of fake water on somebody. Just acting goofy. And then the head clown, the one he'd been waiting for, notices him. He's like, hey, I recognize this young man. I really put it to him last time I was here. I'm going to do that again. And so he wanders over there to the kid, and the spotlight drops, or the lights on the big top drop, and then the spotlight comes on, and it's right on him. And the clown walks up to him, and he says, hey there. And the guy says, well, hello. It was a little different, took him off guard a little bit, but he was, steeled himself nonetheless, and he's like, and so he just waited. And the clown looked at him and said, you're a donkey. And the guy and the crowd kind of hushed for a little bit. And then the laughter stopped, started rolling in. And then the man said, hey, I've got something for you, clown. And everybody kind of stopped. And he just looked the clown square in the eyes and said, hey, fuck you, clown.
Yeah.